Hare Krishna. Morning, dear devotees. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Is my microphone working? Yes? Okay. We're reading from Brhad Bhagavatamrita today. Chapter 5. Beginning with text 78. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Narada Uvacha Gopala Deva Piya Gopanandana Shriman Ito Durataro Virajate Golokanamo Parisabhasimago Vaikunthato Desha Vishesha Shekara. Shri Narada said, Dear devotee of Lord Gopal Dev, O son of a cowherd, far away from here lies the most exalted of all places, called Goloka. Gopakumar is Gopal Devapriya in two ways. Lord Gopal is dear to him, and he is dear to Lord Gopal. This is because Gopakumar is Gopanandana, a young cowherd boy from Sri Govardhan Hill. Goloka stands above all the other spiritual planets because it is superior in every way. The Brahma Samhita states, Goloka namni nichadamni talichatasya devi mahesha haridama suteshu teshu te te prabhava nichaya vihitas govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lowest of all lies Devidam, the mundane world. Next above it is Maheshdam, the abode of Mahesh. Above Maheshdam is Haridam, the abode of Hari. And above them all is Krishna's own realm, named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The 8 coverings of the universe over which Durga presides, and the abode of Lord Shiva, and the Vaikuntha kingdom of Lord Hari, all stand below Goloka. Om Jnana Timirandasya Vinanjana Shakakaya Chaksho Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karoti Vachalam Ungam Bangayate Garim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shanyavari Pastya Chadesha Tarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Our last class, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, Last week, unfortunately, the internet was down. I had every intention of giving class, but there was some construction going on and internet everywhere was down. So 2 weeks ago, we were leading up to today's verse. Narada is speaking. Let's see. Yes, it's Narada. He was describing Krishna's greatness because of his inclination to appear as an ordinary friend that does away with respect and reverence of his devotees and expands their pure love for him. That was text 76. And then Gopakumar continued saying, after saying this, the sage was overwhelmed by the weight of love, swept up in various ecstatic transformations. He remained silent a while. Then he spoke to me again because he saw that I was troubled and keen for his instructions. Today's verse, Narada said, "Dear devotee of Gopal Dev, O son of a cowherd, far away from here lies the most exalted of all places called Goloka. It is full of all splendor and beyond the borders of all other regions, including Vaikuntha." Narada Muni is going to begin his description of Goloka. And this verse and many verses to come, there will be many verses which will highlight, especially those verses spoken by Uddhava, the unique position of Goloka, and of course, what makes that place so unique is that it is superior than any other abode that Gopakumar has thus far visited. As described in today's purport, Goloka stands above all the other spiritual planets. It is superior in every way. And then the verse from Sri Brahma Samhita is quoted describing Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Haridham, and how Goloka is beyond these abodes. One point that I took note of in today's purport, which I'm going to just highlight a little bit, that from the verse quoted from Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma describes that he adores the primeval Lord Govinda, who was allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. And then he goes on to describe the 8 coverings of the universe, which Durga presides. We have discussed this in brief before, because we never really read that section of Gopakumar's journey fully, because we started in Mahakalapur with the instructions from the Bhagavata Dutas. Nonetheless, in the course of Gopakumar's journey, he revealed to the Mathura Brahman his experience of the various coverings of the universe and the various rulers of those places. Didn't give a lot of detail, but he gave enough detail to help us gain a sense of, well, let's call it Aishvarya, a sense of awe at the nature of Krishna's creations. In the previous part of his journey, after Gopakumara left Satyaloka, and because he had heard about this liberation, he returned to Mathura, and then from there he met his spiritual master again, who gave him more instructions, enlightenment, manifested his ecstasies, and bestowed upon the blessing upon Gopakumar to go to his next destination. And because Gopakumar, his next destination was the place of liberation, because as he has been in every part of his journey, he becomes attracted to move on. And he heard in Satyaloka something about this place of liberation. He thought this would be the place where he could meet the object of his meditation, and his spiritual master gave him the blessing to take advantage of the mantra he had given to him and use that as your vehicle for the next destination which you aspire for. We should always bear in mind that although we know Gopakumar is aspiring for the lotus feet of Madan Gopal, as we have repeatedly said, due to his innocence, his naivety, and his inclination to follow, to move on with the blessings of every personality he meets in the course of his journey, he repeatedly develops an aspiration to move to the place where they direct him. In this particular case, his aspiration was to go seeking Madan Gopal, who thought he would find him in Mahakalapur. And because he had already journeyed to the lower planetary systems and been there and has already exhausted his aspiration for each of those places, when Gopakumar returned and got this blessing from the spiritual master to take advantage of the mantra which he had given to him to go where he desired to go, then he very quickly passed every place he had previously visited, Tapaloka, Mahaloka, Janaloka, Satyaloka, and then he came to the coverings of the material universe. And each of those coverings he describes to the Mathura Brahmin. The first place he came to was to the layer of earth, because there are 8 layers: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. As we understand that each of these layers are coverings of the universe. Each one is described in the Bhagavatam as 10 times thicker, denser than the previous. And each of them is manifest subtly from the previous ingredients in those various places. So the first place he came to was Earth. And there, on that Earth, it's not Earth meaning the planet Earth, it was the covering Earth, one of the 8 coverings. And what's very, very noticeable in this narration that Gopakumar gives to the Mathura Brahmin is that each covering, first covering he comes to Earth, he sees, I think it was Bhumi, who was the predominating deity of that realm, who was worshipping Lord Varaha. And she invited him to come and to stay and look around. Maybe there's something we have to offer to you that might be particularly very attractive to you. But Gopakumara was not inclined, because he had in his mind, no, I already have a next destination. And my next destination that I'm aspiring for is this place of liberation, which, of course, as we know, there in Mahakalapur, he heard some conversations which were adequate to convince him that don't go there. Don't go to liberation. You come here, you come this far, forget about this liberation. You want to aspire for service. You go to this place of liberation, you're going to really regret. You're going to really regret, because the aspiration that you have for service will be rendered, will be nullified if you become too attracted by that place. And of course, we've had that conversation. We discussed that conversation before, so I won't go into too much detail. But the point that I wanted to make was, just as is described in the Brahma Samhita, that there are respective authorities which is given to the rulers of those graded realms. In Devi Dham, there is the 8, also includes the 8 coverings of the universe, which is earth, next is water, where there is a predominating deity, who is Matsya, and there is a personality who worships Matsya in that place, who is the person responsible for that place, who performs that worship. But what I really noticed was that Gopakumar described that each place he went through, beginning with earth, then to water, then to fire. Predominating deity was, I think, Surya Narayan. And there was a particular worshipper of Surya Narayan on that place. And then beyond Surya Narayan, there was Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarsana, Vasudev. They were the predominating deities of each of the water, fire, air, ether, mind, and intelligence. The Bhagavatamrita says that for one who wants to improve his intelligence, then there's a particular deity he should worship. I think it's Pradyumna for worshiping intelligence, and there's another who should be worshipped for the mind. So they have, each of them, they have their respective deities, and they have their respective authorities. And Gopakumar describes that at every place he goes, the opulences, the pleasures, all the ingredients of those places are millions of times greater than the previous realm. And if you think about it, if you kind of look at it in a relative way, which is, of course, not necessary for one who develops an attraction for Goloka, but if one looks at it in a relative way, that even the coverings of this universe, which come under the realm of Devi Dham, have opulences and pleasures which are millions of times greater than the previous abode. each one that one comes to. And then after crossing these coverings, then Gopakumar comes to a place which is like the covering of the universe. And it's dark. In fact, it's described in the Bhagavatam when Krishna went to retrieve the son of the and when he went to Mahavishnu, and he also crossed the coverings of the universe. And it's described that when he had his horses, he came to a place which was very dark. It was just like mud. It's a very darkish color. But it was, although it was dark like mud, it was the most beautiful, most attractive place because its darkish color was the same as Krishna's complexion. And what happened when Gopakumar came to that place, he actually, because it reminded him of the complexion of Madan Gopal, and the predominating deity of that place was, I believe, Prakriti Devi. And she's also invited him, why don't you look around? We've got Anima, Lagima, we've got all different kinds of cities that you can achieve here. And Gopakumar, for some temporarily, because of the color, because he was relating the color of his experiences there in that particular place to Madan Gopal, he thought, why not? So he actually spent a little time there. But yet he was also very, very careful that when these offerings were given to him for these mystic yogic cities, he said, no, these will be of no value to me for where I want to go. And he rejected them. And then he approached Prakriti Devi, or should I say she approached him. She approached him and she said, you know, if you want to go beyond here, you should worship me. Which she was basically saying, you know, I can help you. I can help you. I can help you move on. And she said, even if you decide that you don't want liberation, still you should worship me, because by worshiping me, I also have the power of, don't forget, I'm Krishna's sister, Subhadra. And I can give you the opportunity for seva, which is what your inclination is. So, and Gopakumar had already rejected staying in that place, but then she was asking, why don't you worship me, and I will help you to achieve that which you desire. So Gopakumar, he basically said, I desire to move on. Can you please give me your blessings? And she gave her blessings for him to move on to his next destination, because they are the rulers of these different realms, and Gopakumar, as we said before, would not move on without being given the blessings to move on. Previously, every place he went to, he received blessings and he moved to the next destination. But this was the last place. And there is one verse which is described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, which described it to Loka is this place, this covering, this final covering, this dense covering that one has to cross. And it's described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the commentary that the first Loka is Devidam, and Aloka means beyond the coverings of the material universe. So he was passing beyond the coverings of the material universe, and he entered into Maheshtam. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his commentary on Brahma Samhita, where he describes this verse that we just read from Brahma Samhita 543, he says that this place of liberation and Maheshtam, they're both combined together in this place. One place, which he describes Mahakalapur, although it's effulgent, it's still surrounded by darkness. Although it's effulgent, that place, but I don't think I have the commentary, but it's fifth chapter, 43rd verse, he writes in the commentary that it's combined Mahakalapur and it's in Maheshtam, but when one goes beyond Mahakalapur into Maheshtam, then everything there is completely effulgent. There is no darkness, no longer darkness. And of course, Lord Shiva is the ruler of Maheshtam. And so this is a little bit, and of course, Maheshtam is considered to be much greater than Devidam. And then beyond Maheshtam, of course, is Haridam, which is where we began traveling with Gopakumar. In Haridam, and we've already heard a lot about the opulences which are available in Haridam, in Vaikuntha, and all those opulences are by far superior. All the residents of the Vaikuntha planets, they all have the opportunity to enjoy those same opulences which are manifested in the Lord. So looking at it from this perspective, this helps us to put it into perspective where Gopakumar is going now. Because if everything is getting better, getting better, getting better, getting better, getting better, and we've heard about places which are still the coverings of the universe, which are millions of times greater than the previous covering, each place is getting better. I don't know. Forgive me for thinking of this. It just popped into my mind. I'll just give you an example. I remember when I was very young, a friend of mine and myself, I don't know how old we were. We weren't even teenagers yet. We were making our first trip to New York City together. And we had no idea what New York City was about. Never been there before. We were coming from up north of New York City. And anybody who's, because this is what, early 60s? I don't remember exactly. Maybe mid-1960s, mid-1960s. We had taken a bus, and to get to New York City, you had to go through Harlem. You had to go through all these different places, which are well known as being very, very, poverty places, crime, corruption. And when you drive through those places, and we'd never been to New York City before, I'll remind you. Of course, this helps us a little bit to understand what Prabhupada went through. We were looking out the window and thinking, is this New York City? And then we started to sing an old Beatles song with each other, that it's getting better. As we were driving, getting better all the time, because we were worried. Here we were, 12-year-old kids, and going to New York City, and we had heard that New York City is this place filled with lights and anyways, even back then it was quite aspired for a place for everyone to go to. So similarly, on this way to on Gopakumar's journey, he's going from one place to the next to the next. And each place, he's seeing now it's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better. And then finally he reaches this Mahakalapur, and finally he sees something that was very attractive, which was, he thought, this is the complexion of it's getting better. It's the complexion of my worshipful deity's body. And it attracted him to stay there for a little while. But he knew that there was something better, because somebody told him, at each place, there's something better. You don't want to stay here? this is where you, in fact, most of the time it didn't happen that way, that you don't want to stay here. Most of the time, the way it happened was somebody came from a destination beyond, like Lord Shiva came to Satyaloka, or or the four Kumaras came to a place, and Gopakumara said, "Who are they? Where did they come from?" And then he had to learn from the residents of that particular place who they were, and heard something about their qualities, something about their opulences, and then he was thinking, "Well, I'd like to go there. It's better." So that's what happens for Gopakumar's journey. But now he's got Narada and Uddhava, both of them, who are going to say, yes, there's a place that's better. There's a place that's better. And and because you are Gopal Deva Priya, you are very dear to Gopal. Gopal is very dear to you. You deserve to hear about and to aspire for and to meditate on moving onwards to that place. So this is the narration which is opening up right now at this particular section of this chapter. I'm going to read a few verses. Text 79. Samatura Shiva Jabhumi Rupas Tatraiva Devi Mathura Puricha Vrindavanari Vrajabhumi Matma Saram Vinastatum Aparayanti. That same Goloka takes the form of the divine Vrajabhumi of the district of Mathura. And the city of Mathura is also there, unable to stay apart from her own essence, Vrindavan and the other forests of Vrajabhumi. Commentary. According to this statement, Mathura is not separate from Vrajabhumi like Ayodhya and other abodes of the Lord. One might ask, although the district of Mathura is non-different from Sri Goloka, what about the city of Mathura? Mathura's city is Devi in the sense that she is effulgent and splendid, and she is included in Goloka. Even though Mathura has her own distinct identity, she cannot bear to be apart from the forests of Vrajabhumi. According to the spiritual geography of Goloka, the Mathura district includes Vrindavan and other Vraja forests, which are the most essential parts of Mathura. Actually, we read this verse once before, and we spoke about it, about the specific, unique qualities of Mathura and how it is part of Goloka, as described here. Although the district of Mathura is not different from Sri Goloka, speaking about the district of Mathura, the city is also there, and but unable to stay apart from her own essence, Vrindavan and the other forests of Vrajabhumi. I'm going to read a few verses. Sago pradhana deshatvat savashi maturochate goloka iti gudopi vikyata sahi sarvata. Because the entire region of Sri Mathura is a land of cows, it is called Goloka. Though a confidential place, it is famous everywhere. Commentary. The transcendental abode that includes the city of Ayodhya is also called Ayodhya. Why then is the abode that includes the city of Mathura called Goloka rather than Mathura? The answer is the entire Mathura district, with its city, towns, and forests, was full of cows. Furthermore, the Goloka of the spiritual world is famous by that name. The intimate pastimes of the personality of Godhead are a well-kept secret, but the name Goloka is known everywhere. Lord Indra, for example, refers to Goloka by name in his prayers to Sri Krishna in the Harivamsa. So there is no reason to doubt the glories of Goloka on the grounds that it is an obscure, unknown place. In other words, it's not an obscure, unknown place. Everybody's heard about it. It's quite popular, although most are not qualified to enter. And next verse will explain. Sachatad Vrajalokanam Shrimat Premanuvartina Krishne Shudatare Naiva Bhavinai Kena Labhyate. That abode can be reached only through the purest sentiments in which one follows the sublime love held for Krishna by the residents of Braj. So although it's well known, here's the criteria to well known in terms of lots of people have heard about it. But that abode can only be reached through the purest sentiments in which one follows the sublime love held for Krishna by the residents of Braj. Commentary. Goloka can be reached only by prema, free of fault, untouched by jnana, karma, or any other material endeavor, and concentrated on the son of Nanda Maharaj. And to learn this kind of prema, one must carefully study the examples of Vrajavasis like Sri Nanda and Yashoda, and especially the ideal example of Sri Radha and her companions. Tadrik Bhagavati Prema Paramaishvarya Drishtita Sada Sampadyate Naiva Haya Gurava Sambhavat. One can never achieve such pure love for the personality of Godhead by concentrating on his supreme power, because in that mood, one invariably feels fear and reverence. Kevalam lokika prana surhid bhudya sasidyati loka loko taro yas yosa ati loko taropiya. One achieves that love only by thinking of the Lord as one's ordinary dear friend. That love is higher than found in the material worlds and the outer coverings of the universe, and higher than in the spiritual kingdom beyond. Commentary. Only by considering Krishna one's lifelong friend in one of the spiritual relationships can a devotee rise to the level of the pure love known only in Braj. This Vraja Prema is not an inferior version of love of God. It is not love in the mode of worldly affection. It is in fact superior to any feeling known in Loka the 14 worlds of the material universe, aloka, the elemental coverings of the universe, or atiloka, the Vaikuntha planets beyond those coverings. Raja Prema is the essential nature of the highest of all worlds. The Lord, who is its object, is supreme, and the sweetness it embodies is also supreme. I read these few verses. I wanted to read a commentary from Priti Sandarbha. We've been speaking about, I think we spoke about it 2 weeks ago also, where specifically we're emphasizing how Krishna's human-like activities, human-like behavior is what makes his pastimes in that most unique place so attractive. Human-like because Krishna, although he's the Supreme Lord, he behaves like, in so many respects, like an ordinary human being. We've spoken about this many times before. His mischievous activities, his stealing, and his lying, his many activities which are in this world understood to be false and mundane, and anybody who displays such characteristics in this world, or many types of similar characteristics in this world, he may be well known for those activities, but by being well known for those activities, it's not going to be of any benefit to the person performing them, nor will be of any particular benefit to the purpose for the persons who know about them. But yet, what makes Krishna's pastimes is that he behaves like an ordinary human being, and the residents of that particular place think of him to be like one of them. He's like us. And Jiva Goswami speaks about this in his commentaries and in the Priti Sandarbha. And he gives many different examples. And I wanted to read some and expand on them a little bit, because this is what Narada Muni is going to be describing in this particular section. He's describing why is it that makes Krishna so attractive is that he becomes an ordinary friend. Of course, that's something that's very appealing to Gopakumar, to hear about an ordinary friend. Of course, I just talked about, just 10 minutes ago, an affair that I had with an ordinary friend. He and I went to New York City for the first time, and we had different types of exchanges of affection, going to the big city, to the Big Apple. But where were we going? New York City, a very mundane place. And of course, we won't talk about some of the mundane events that go on in that mundane places. We rented a hotel. It was in a fairly good section, and we were quite relieved when we finally got to the bus station to see that it wasn't such a degraded place when we finally got there. But there was still a lot of other types of enjoyment, which someone may consider to be a completely perversion of the spiritual world. And there's no comparison. Anybody who becomes attracted, hears about, or emulates these particular qualities or places there's no particular benefit. But yet when Krishna behaves like an ordinary human being with his friends, and they exchange their friendly relationships, they also, as we've spoken about before, they say, as friends, they say insulting words towards each other, they criticize each other, which in this world is degraded, but for Krishna, it's relishable. And for the cowherd boys, it's very relishable because there's never any malice there. And there's joking and there's insulting. And we read from the Govinda Lilamrita that no joke is funny unless Krishna laughs at it. And he heard a lot of jokes with his friends. And sometimes their jokes were, they were playing jokes on their friends. Madhu Mangal is oftentimes a butt of jokes. And Balaram, he also led an assault of jokes into Madhu Mangal. And but yet it's so pleasing, it's so relishable, because these appear to be like ordinary friendly dealings, but the center is Krishna. And can only be found, these types of dealings can only be found because every place where Gopakumar has been up until now, even friendly dealings, there was always Aishvarya. There were different gradations of intimacy, but nothing like what Gopakumar is going to hear now, and what we're going to be speaking about now. What Gopakumar will be hearing about from Uddhava and from Narada. The intimacy transcends, is beyond all the intimacies, because it's madhurya, sweetness, to the superlative degree. And as we know, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur defines madhurya, is when Krishna's behavior is just simply like an ordinary human being, especially like an ordinary young child. And he behaves, but yet the activities of an ordinary young child, mischievous activities, doesn't really constitute, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes in Madhurya Kandambani, that the mischievous activities of an ordinary child doesn't constitute sweetness. But what constitutes sweetness, it's that it's Krishna who is engaged in these activities as of an ordinary child. And that makes it particularly very, very relishable. So we'll read a little bit about this in this commentary. I'm not going to have that much time to read the whole commentary. There's a lot of things I wanted to read about, and I'm not going to be able to even come close to them for the duration of this class. There's some things I wanted to read about from Ananda Vrindavan Champu, because one of the points that the Jiva Goswami brings out, that Krishna behaves even like an ordinary person, even when he's in a solitary place. Someone will say, what purpose does Krishna have to serve, behaving like an ordinary person in a solitary place? But in Ananda Vrindavan Champu, these are so very nicely described, that when Krishna goes to steal butter in a solitary place, sometimes he behaves in a particular way, like when he saw his reflection in the pillar, and he saw his reflection in the pillar, although he was in a solitary place, when he saw the reflection in the pillar, he thought he was being caught by his brother stealing butter, and he started speaking to him and saying, oh brother, it was his reflection only, but he was saying, oh brother, please don't tell on me. Please, I'll share this with you. I'll give you as much as you want. He was in a solitary place, but he's so much absorbed in that mood of sweetness that even in a solitary place, Krishna behaves like an ordinary child. Or the other time was when Krishna was in a solitary place, same place, doing the same activities. No one was around, and he was reaching into the pot butter, and then his mother Jasoda, she comes in from outside, and she looks from standing behind a pillar, watching him, and as he's reaching into the pot of butter, and then Krishna notices that she's there, and he has to immediately give an explanation for what he's doing, and he said, "Oh Mata, my hand was burning, and because my hand was burning from these jewels that are on my hand, I had to put it in the pot to cool it off." And he was in a solitary place. Why did he have to? But yet, because Mother Jasoda was going to come, and he had to be prepared for her arrival, and therefore, but he was stealing butter in a solitary place, and you would think, why would he do something in a solitary place? Why wouldn't he just be his normal self? Point is, that's the nature of his sweetness. He is his normal self. His normal self is the sweetness of these pastimes of Braj. That's, as we so many times said, that's the most attractive place for him to be, and he's surrounded by those who he's most attracted to be with, and he's just being his normal self. So anyways, these are some of the topics which Jiva Goswami is going to speak out in his commentary from Priti Sandarbha. Let me read it, and we'll speak a little bit about it. This Priti Sandarbha, Anucheda 151. The activities the Supreme Personality of Godhead performs in his transcendental form are of two kinds. One, Aishvarya Chesta, or his activities of power and opulence. And two, activities of charming sweetness, Madhurya Chesta. Because his devotees love him so much, the Lord manifests his great sweetness before them, filled with wonder and bliss. Srila Shukadev Goswami explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, and he quotes a verse. This verse is actually quoted in the next verse that we're going to read next week, but you'll get a little preview of it. Evam nigudatma gatis famayuya kopat machatvam charitar vidambayan Reme ramalalita pada palavo ramyai samam gramya but isha chistata. In this way, the Supreme Lord, whose soft lotus feet are personally attended by the goddess of fortune, concealed his transcendental opulences by his internal potency, and acted like the son of a cowherd. Yet even while enjoying like a village boy in the company of other village residents, he often exhibited feats only God could perform. This verse means the Supreme Lord, whose soft lotus feet are personally attended by the goddess of fortune, when he manifests his form as Lord Narayan, stayed amongst the people of Raj. In other words, Jiva Goswami is saying that he is Supreme Lord Narayan, whose lotus feet are worshipped by the goddess of fortune. But he stayed amongst the people of Raj. Not only did he stay amongst them, but as we'll soon read, he wants to be with them more than anyone else. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is an example. When Lord Balaram, who carries the plow weapon, saw the gigantic body of the demon as he moved swiftly in the sky with his blazing eyes, fiery hair, terrible teeth reaching toward his scowling brows, and an amazing effulgence generated by his armlets, crowns, and earrings. So the main point is coming. Lord Balaram saw this gigantic body of a demon, very, very fearful looking, very, very fearful looking. So what happened when he saw this fearful looking demon? The Lord seemed to become a little frightened. That's what this verse is saying. So why is, he seemed to become a little frightened. There's a certain type of sweetness, human-like nature that, of course, there's nothing for Lord Balaram to be fearful of. And we'll read in many, many different places, but there is no reason for Krishna to be fearful. There's no reason for Krishna to be bewildered. Like when Krishna watched all the cowherd boys going into the mouth of Aghasura, he was wondering what's what's happening. He sometimes, or when he was looking for them, he was looking for the calves in front of Lord Brahma, and he displayed a bit of bewilderment, like which direction should I go? Where do I start to look for them? He knew exactly where they were, but he displayed a certain bewilderment. A type of anxiety, fear of his mother, when she comes after her stick, a fear of a potential chastisement from his mother when he devours the forest fire, and he tells everybody to close his eyes, because if they tell his mother that that what he's done, she might again. She might, I've already gotten in trouble once before for eating dirt. Now what's my mother going to do when she finds out I'm eating fire? So he's fearful. So same way Lord Balaram is seeing this demon, he seems to be a little frightened. In this pastime, the Lord's sweetness is, and Jiva Goswami goes on to explain, this pastime, the Lord's sweetness is manifest because he pretends to be an ordinary human being. Of course, we also know that in Damodar Leela, Krishna didn't pretend to be afraid. In the beginning, he did. Description when he began manifesting crocodile tears, and he was pretending to be afraid then. But then, when Mother Jasoda started to come after him, then, because of the power of her praying, he was no longer pretending, with crocodile-like tears. He was afraid. And Kunti Devi, in her prayers, specifically makes that point, that this is very bewildering to me, because you're Krishna, I know you're Krishna, and you weren't pretending to be afraid. And this is very bewildering to me. So, in this particular case, it's described, he pretends to be an ordinary human being. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the word Mayaya means by my mercy. The Lord acts like an ordinary human being, so the people of Raj will think he is one of them. The Lord acts in this way because he loves his devotees, as he is declared in Srimad Bhagavatam. Saravo Vidayam Mayam. Pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anything else but them. Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, we've explained this before many times, how Krishna described how he gives his heart to his devotee and enters into the heart of his devotee, because the devotee repeatedly shows again and again through his service. The devotee shows repeatedly that he never wants anything from Krishna for his service. And Krishna becomes so bound to that devotee who never wants anything from him for his service that Krishna feels so bound that he wants to give something, but even when he tries to give something, the devotee always says, no, 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 no. Just let me serve you. Just let me serve you. No, 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 no. It's okay. I don't want. And then Krishna says, I feel so bound that I have to give them something. But they don't want. If I offer them opulences, if I offer them anything, they'll always refuse. So I have to give them the greatest treasure I have in my treasure house, because they don't want anything. I give them my heart. So when Krishna says the devotee is always in me, these Krishnas means that I'm always thinking of this devotee. Why? Because this devotee doesn't think of anyone but me. So I'm always thinking about him. And because the devotee is always taking me into his heart and serving me so nicely, then I give him my heart also. So in this way, there's this reciprocal loving exchange. And then as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes in Madhurya Kandambini, that when Krishna enters into the heart of his devotees in Braj, he's so attracted to those hearts that he completely forgets he's God. Because it's just so relishable inside these hearts. And he gives the example of like the bee entering into the lotus flower, and the lotus flower closes at night and captures the bee when it closes, but the bee doesn't care that he's captured inside the heart. Why does the bee not care? Because there's just so much nectar in this flower. Why should I care where I am? So much nectar. So Krishna in the same way is feeling so much nectar in the heart of his devotees that he just gives himself completely. So Jiva Goswami says, Sadavo Hridayam Mayam, pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I'm always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 15, 19, the word Nigudatma Gati means concealing his supreme opulence and acting like an ordinary human being of this world. So it means two things. Nigudatma Gati means concealing his opulences and acting like an ordinary human being of this world. Gopatmajatvam means like the son of an ordinary cowherd man. Charitara vidambayam reme means imitating an ordinary gopa's activities. Just like an ordinary cowherd boy. He enjoyed pastimes. The word Rama Lalita Pada Pallava indicates that the Lord does not desire to enjoy the pastime where the goddess of fortune serves his feet as much as he desires to enjoy his pastimes with the people of Raj. Pastimes with the Vraj's peoples are described here in the words Gramyai Samam, which means pastimes with village boys. The Lord's pastimes with the people of Raj are his most important pastimes. Pastimes, he displays his power and opulence are not his most important pastimes. Just says that not his most important pastimes. Most important and not his most important doesn't in any way make them irrelevant. They're just not his most important pastimes. We've discussed this before when Krishna was speaking to Satyabhama, making it clear, look, there's some more important people to me besides you. And she was jealous. No one else was jealous, but she was jealous because she was important. She knew she was important. So she displayed her jealousy to give him pleasure. So the pastimes where he displays his power and opulence are not his most important pastimes. An example of these pastimes is seen in the following words of Srimad Bhagavatam. Being very angry, this is 10th canto, 9th chapter, 6th verse. This one, Krishna's stealing butter. Being very angry and biting his reddish lips with his teeth, Krishna, with false tears in his eyes, broke the container of yogurt with a piece of stone. Then he entered a room and began to eat the freshly churned butter in a solitary place. I didn't think I was going to get this far. That's why I summarized it before. And then Jiva Goswami says, even though he was in a solitary place, Lord Krishna still acted like an ordinary child. Another example of Lord Krishna acting as if he were an ordinary human being is seen in these words of Srimad Bhagavatam. 10th canto, 12th chapter, 27th verse. Krishna saw that all the cowherd boys, who did not know anyone but him as their Lord, had now gone out of his hand and were helpless, having entered like straws into the fire of the abdomen of Aghasura, who is death personified. It was intolerable for Krishna to be separated from his friends, the cowherd boys. Therefore, as if seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure of what to do. How could Krishna be unsure what to do? Of course, as we know, we've talked about many times before, when he approached Uddhava, he said, I'm unsure what to do, Uddhava. Can you tell me? And Uddhava says, this is very bewildering to me. You know exactly what to do. How is it possible that you're unsure of what to do? And of course, Uddhava was bewildered, as we explained before. The reason why he was bewildered because he saw that Krishna genuinely was unsure what to do. He wasn't just pretending to be unsure of what to do. And this was very bewildering to him. Why are you coming to me? How is it you're unsure of what to do? He couldn't understand. This is how Krishna behaves. In this pastime, Lord Krishna became distressed, thinking that the cowherd boys were now under the control of fate. In this pastime, the Lord thought and acted as if he were an ordinary human being. When they describe these activities of the Lord, the great sages become filled with wonder. There's a lot more. I'm going to stop here because I want to take a little time to chant some japa also. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I think, I don't know, somehow I remember I stopped only after about maybe 10, 15 minutes, and I saw somebody look a little disappointed. So I'm going to try to stay a little bit longer today. And so I'm going to stop here. We'll continue next week. There's a lot more. that we haven't gotten into. I didn't even read. In the next verse is a lot of detail. The next verse of Brhad Bhagavatamrita about his human-like activities, which Narada is going to reveal, and Uddhava is also going to soon thereafter speak about as well. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Is it Pandavanirjal Odyssey in North America? Or was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Okay. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. So we will end here, dear devotees. Thank you very much for glories to Srila Prabhupada. The next class is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock India Standard Time for Russian-speaking devotees. And we'll have another class on Wednesday, questions and answers for Russian-speaking devotees. That will also be at 10 o'clock. And the link will be available probably starting on Monday for you to post your questions. For those of you who don't have the link for posting questions, the link will be available on the website, on the blog. And that will be for next Wednesday's class at 10 o'clock India time. Send your questions. The link will be in the blog. I have one brief announcement for those of you who have not seen the latest blog, but I have been told that the mobile app for naranjanaswami.net is going to be available for within probably about a week. You can download it from the Apple Store, and that will be a mobile app that you can get. You can get notifications for classes, notifications whenever new material is placed on the website, and all the material can be streamed from the mobile app, and should be available hopefully within about 1 week. And on Android, it's a little bit behind, maybe 2 weeks. It will be available on Android, and you can get it on the Google Play Store. So if you haven't seen that, there is an announcement on the website about the mobile app, which will become available, where you can get access to the lectures and blogs and videos. And classes will still be held this way, online, Zoom, but the recordings are on the website. So thank you. We'll end here. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.